What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. It is time to give you my official 2024 college football preseason top 25 rankings for the upcoming 2024 college football season. The college football season, of course, kicks off this weekend. Of course, we have week 0 coming up. Not a lot of big games, but we do have one big game coming up, and that's Florida State versus Georgia Tech. So hopefully everybody is excited for the college football season. All the off-season pretty much, almost over with. And now we got college football Saturdays returning coming up this weekend, and definitely mainly throughout next weekend, and also on the weekdays as well. So college football is officially back. So with that being said, we're going to give you my preseason top 25 rankings here for 2024. Mostly this is going to be based off of the upcoming expectations and also based off of my preseason predictions as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We'll start here from the bottom and work our way to the top, and we're going to have a top 25 video almost every week by week of the college football season. These, of course, will be maybe on Monday, so stay tuned for all these top 25 videos coming out throughout the entire season. We, of course, did this, last year, and I really enjoyed it, so why not do another top 25 rankings week by week? My own top 25. This is not the AP poll. This is not any other top 25. This is my top 25, and this is my preseason top 25. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We'll start from the bottom and work our way to the top, and we start here from 21 through 25. I got SMU here at number 25. I got Iowa at number 24. Texas A&M at number 23, Arizona at number 22, and then Kansas at number 21. So we start here with SMU. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this team. You look at this SMU team, a good amount of production coming back. I think they're definitely a dark horse team in the ACC. And I saw in the AP poll from last week, SMU was not even ranked, which really surprised me a lot. I think this is definitely one of those, maybe top dark horse teams in the ACC. Maybe by a couple of other teams, maybe North Carolina and Virginia Tech. I am very high on Virginia Tech, but I don't really have them ranked just because, they were not like a really good team last year. They were just an average type team, but I'm really high on that team with a lot of experience coming back. But back to this SMU team, a lot of playmakers on both sides of the football that I think they're ready for the Power 4 level. Again, it's their first year in the ACC, so we'll see what this team looks like heading into 2024. Again, I think a lot of people are sleeping on this SMU team. Even the AP poll is sleeping on them. They're a very talented team as well. So again, watch out for SMU. Iowa comes in at number 24. Iowa went to the Big Ten Championship last year. Could they make it back, there this season? I don't really know. The Big Ten's going to be really tough this year with Oregon and, all those newcomers coming over from the Pac-12 and everything. But it's really going to come down to the Hawkeye offense. I mean, that offense definitely was not really good last year. So we'll see how much that offense does improve. Cade McNamara, I think it's going to come down to him in the passing game as well. So we'll see how much, he can improve after being out with an injury last year. So, again, Iowa, it's going to come down to their offense. The defense is definitely going to be the strength of this team. Again, they didn't really lose quite a lot from last year. Yes, they did lose some good players, but they absolutely reload, and they're ready to play some of these guys that were definitely second stringers last year, and definitely third stringers. Again, Iowa's going to be one of the top 5, defenses in the country. So, again, Iowa here at number 24. Texas A&M at number 23. Texas A&M, a lot of hype around this team on both sides of the football. Mike Elko coming in as the head coach. We'll see what they look like next weekend when they play against Notre Dame. I mean, that's obviously going to really tell us about this Texas A&M team. How good are they going to be against that Notre Dame team? And if they win that game, they definitely really will move up in these rankings. Notre Dame is kind of considered a top 10 team, so if they can pull off an upset here early in the season, I think this might be a playoff contender. You never know, but Texas A&M, again, both sides of the football look really good. A lot of talent around this team. Connor Weidman, of course, back at quarterback. I think he has a potential chance to be one of those top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC. Again, if he can really stay healthy. Again, he hasn't been really healthy in the last couple years, so we'll see how he does here for Texas A&M this season. But again, High expectations here for Texas A&M with Mike Elko, of course. I think he's going to do a really good job here for this Texas A&M team, so we'll see what happens here as they are at number 23 in my preseason rankings. Arizona comes in at number 22. First year in the Big 12, of course. We'll see how they do in their first year in the conference. Arizona is a team that, of course, finished really well in the Pac-12 last season with 10 wins. New head coach, obviously, but I think they're still a top 25 team in my opinion. I had Arizona probably in the top 10 in my way too early rankings, but after that head coaching change and everything, they really gone down to the bottom of the top 25. But I still think this is a pretty good team. You look at both sides of the football. The offense is really loaded with experience coming back. Noah Fevey, I think, is a really underrated quarterback. And then defensively, you got a concern there for the Wildcats, but not a ton of concern. They do lose good players, but either way, Arizona should be a really good team in 2024. So I got the Wildcats here at number 22. And then Kansas comes in here at number 21. I think this team is very underrated heading into this year. I think they're definitely among the top contenders to win the Big 12 this season and maybe make it to the Big 12 championship. I think Jalen Daniels is also a very underrated quarterback. If he can stay healthy, Kansas becomes a very dangerous team. But if he doesn't stay healthy, I think Kansas might drop off from where they were in the last couple years. But overall, a lot of experience coming back here for Kansas. Again, that's the reason why they're in the top 25 in the first place. So these are my rankings here from 21 through 25. All right, 16 through 20, I got Miami at number 20. I got Louisville at number 19, Kansas State at number 18, Oklahoma at number 17. And then I got Missouri here at number 16. So we'll start here with the Hurricanes. Miami, we'll see what they look like next weekend when they head to Gainesville to play Florida. That's going to be a huge game. That might be the biggest, unranked versus, ranked matchup, maybe heading into week 1 of the season. You never know. But you look at this Miami team. Mario Cristobal, has really gotten it done in the offseason. Of course, brought in a ton of transfers and, of course, brought in a really good recruiting class. But it's really going to come down to the on-the-field scenarios. Miami has been really inconsistent for the last couple years. They bring in Cameron Ward, the transfer quarterback coming over from Washington State. I think Cam Ward is probably one of the top quarterback transfers in the transfer portal. I think he's going to do a really good job here for this Miami team. But again, there's a lot of talent on this team, but sometimes inconsistency in the last couple years has just not really won them games. So it's going to come down to the consistency on both sides of the football here for this Miami team. I think they're going to be a very talented team. They're definitely going to be one of those top contenders in the ACC. But will they live up to those expectations? We will see. But again, I think this Miami team is going to be very talented, and they are in the top 25 and also just inside the top 20 here. And then Louisville comes in at number 19. They brought in a ton of transfers, of course. I think this is going to be a really good Louisville team once again this year. They were a very big surprise last season. The schedule is a lot more tougher. They got to play Notre Dame and Kentucky, both in the non-conference. They have to play both of those games on the road, but they don't have to worry about those games just yet. I mean, it's obviously, Notre Dame's, I think, in the middle of the season, and Kentucky's the last game of the regular season. But you look at the offense, Tyler Shough comes in at quarterback from Texas Tech. I think he's going to be pretty good for them. The passing game, obviously, was a very big, weakness for this Louisville team last year, so we'll see how good they're going to be in the passing game. I think the defense has a chance to be pretty good for Louisville as well, so I got the Cardinals ranked number 19. Kansas State comes in at number 18. I got them here in the middle of the pack of the top 25. I think this will be a very consistent team. They lost quite a bit from last year, but this is a very well-coached team. They know how to get it done on both sides of the football, especially on offense. It's really going to come down to the quarterback position, in my opinion, for Kansas State. But I had this team going to the Big 12 championship. No, I'm not really high on this team, but again, they're a really well-coached team, and I think them, they sit right there in the middle of the pack here in the top 25. So I got the Wildcats here at number 18. And then Oklahoma comes in at number 17. Obviously, first year in the SEC for them. There's a lot of talent on this roster, but the question is, how good are they going to be? Well, they do have a tough schedule this year. I think this Oklahoma team is going to be pretty good, but again, they have a very tough schedule this season. I mean, that's the reason why I got them going 6-6 in my prediction. But again, I think this will be a very talented team, especially on the defense. Brent Venables knows how to get it done on the defense. The defense really showed signs last year, and I think the defense will be even better than it was in the last couple years as well. The offense, though, is obviously a concern for Oklahoma. New quarterback and everything. Dillon Gabriel obviously leaving this Oklahoma team. I mean, obviously it wasn't really a good fit for him in that offense. So we'll see how much that offense can improve, and we'll see if they can be an explosive offense. And if they can get that offense figured out and with a really good defense, Oklahoma could be a very dangerous team heading into 2024. And then Missouri comes in at number 16. I think this team is definitely going to be a little bit better, a little bit good. Not as good as last year, though. They have a schedule, though, that really sets up nicely for them. And based off of last year, I'm going to put them here in the top 25, but not in the top 15. Again, I think this Missouri team is going to be pretty good, but, again, I just have them here outside the top 15. Was just last year a fluke, or will this year, be another good season here for the Tigers? Missouri, offensively, Brady Cook comes back at quarterback. They lost, their top running back, from last year and everything, so that'll be a huge loss for them at that running back room, but still got plenty of playmakers on that side of the football, and then, of course, the wide receiver position should be really good, so I think the offense has a chance to be pretty decent for Missouri. The defense, though, is obviously a concern for the Tigers. I think they're definitely going to drop off from where they were from last year. Not definitely a big step back, don't get me wrong, but I think it will be a little bit of a drop from last season. Again, they were a really good defensive team last year, so we'll see what Missouri looks like at number 16, but these are my rankings here from 16 through 20. All right, 11 through 15 now. I got Clemson here at number 15, Tennessee at number 14, LSU at number 13, then Utah at number 12, and then Oklahoma State here at number 11. Clemson, obviously, it's going to come down to their offense. We'll see how good Cade Klubnik gets better throughout the season. It's obviously going to be very tough, to start out the year for Clemson next weekend because they have to play the top-ranked team in Georgia next weekend. That game probably will decide maybe a playoff spot for both of these teams. I think Georgia clearly is the better team. I think they do beat Clemson there, but as long as Clemson maybe competes and maybe like for a half or two, they could probably go on to have a really good season. But, the thing is, obviously we've seen some inconsistency here for Clemson in the last couple years, or maybe the last 3 years, I should say, on the offensive side of the football. Again, I think it's going to really come down to that offense here for the Tigers. The defense, though, will be really strong. They have a lot of talent on that side of the football. But again, like I said, it's going to come down to the consistency on the offensive side of the football with Cade Klubnik. But again, I got Clemson here at number 15 and then Tennessee at number 14. Nico Amaliava takes over at quarterback, obviously. We'll see what he looks like next weekend against an FCS team in Chattanooga. I mean, obviously, Tennessee doesn't play a real competition until that NC State game in week number 2. So again, Tennessee, they're going to have a very explosive offense. I mean, I have no really big concerns about the offense whatsoever. They're going to go hurry up tempo, and they're definitely going to be really explosive. And then defensively, you have some concerns there for Tennessee. I mean, obviously, I think the defense will be a little bit better. James Pierce Jr. on the defense is really an underrated player, them at linebacker, so I think he'll definitely have a pretty dominant season. But again, it's going to come down to that secondary also for Tennessee, so we'll see how much the defense improves this year. And Josh Heupel, I think, in his 4th year now, so Tennessee here at number 14. And then LSU at number 13. Obviously, losing Jaden Daniels is going to be a huge, quarterback loss here for this LSU team. They also lose their offensive coordinator from last year. So, yeah, some coaching changes, there, and also some changes to the quarterback room. I think it's going to come down to the quarterback position here for LSU, but defensively, I think they have a really good defense, this season. This is a very talented LSU team, so they should be right here in the top 15 just because of talent and everything. And Brian Kelly, of course, knows how to get it done. So, again, I got LSU here at number 13, and then Utah comes in at number 12. Cam Rising, of course, returns at quarterback. I think he's going to have a really good season. Obviously missed out, the whole year last year in 2023. The quarterback position was a really big, concern for Utah last year. I mean, obviously they went with like 2 different quarterbacks, maybe even 3. But, Cam Rising, of course, is a veteran. I think with him back, I think Utah definitely has a chance to be a dark horse, or not a dark horse, definitely a top contender in the Big 12. And this is also, in my opinion, maybe a top 5, maybe in a top 10 team. So watch out here for Utah at number 12, and also a lot of production coming back on both sides of the football. And then same thing here with Oklahoma State at number 11. They also have a lot of production coming back on both sides of the football. They got Ollie Gordon III, one of the top running backs maybe in the country and also in the Big 12. And they also got Alan Bowman returning at quarterback, 7th year this year for him, so he's a veteran quarterback. And again, just overall plenty of production and plenty of talent on both sides of the football for both of these Big 12 teams in Utah and Oklahoma State. I think they're among one of the favorites to win the Big 12 this year as well. So again, Oklahoma State at number 11. These are my rankings here from 11 through 15. All right, 6 through 10 now. We got Florida State here at number 10, Penn State at number 9, Notre Dame at number 8, and then Michigan at number 7, and then Ole Miss at number 6. Florida State not going to be the same team, of course, from last year. Jordan Travis is gone, but they bring in DJ Uiagalelei, the former Clemson and Oregon State quarterback. We'll see how good he's going to be. The passing game obviously could be a concern. We haven't seen DJ Uiagalelei have like a really talented season and also a really good year for him in a quarterback position, but we'll see how good the offense is going to be. I think the defense overall will be pretty good. This is going to be a really talented Florida State team. I have them going to the ACC championship this year and also to the college football playoff. And the reason why Florida State's in the top 10, because they absolutely load in the transfer portal, and that's the reason why you're seeing Florida State here at number 10. The highest ranked ACC team, in my opinion, heading into 2024. Penn State at number 9. Overall, a very talented team as well. Drew Aller comes back at quarterback. We'll see how much he does improve in the passing game. And they have a really good 1-2 punch at running back. So Penn State might have the best running back duo in the country. And the defense overall should be quite good as well. So I got Penn State here at number 9. Notre Dame at number 8. I'm very high on this Notre Dame team. Riley Leonard, of course, the transfer quarterback coming over from Duke. We'll see how good he's going to be. And obviously they take over with LSU's former offensive coordinator. So the offense might be a little bit better than it was in the last couple years. You never know about Notre Dame. But again, they have a very tough competition coming up next weekend on the road at Texas A&M. I mean, we'll see how good they're going to be. And again, if they can win that game, Notre Dame probably goes on to go to the college football playoff, but if they don't win that game, they probably don't make it in there. But again, I got Notre Dame going to the playoff regardless after that loss to Texas A&M. Again, I do have Notre Dame losing that game to Texas A&M in my predictions, but we'll see how good this Notre Dame team is in a couple weeks. So I got them here at number 8. And then Michigan comes in here at number 7, the defending national champions. Michigan obviously going to lose quite a bit on the offensive side of the football, but the defense overall should be pretty good for them as well. You look at this Michigan team, Donovan Edwards, of course, maybe one of the top running backs coming up in the Big Ten this season. I think he's going to have a really good year, but it really comes down to that offense for Michigan, and obviously the quarterback position. J.J. McCarthy is now gone, so we'll see how good these quarterbacks are going to be here for Michigan, but they also have a new head coach, so again, it's kind of like a new era for Michigan. Jim Harbaugh was really successful here for the Wolverines, but we'll see how good this Michigan team is going to be as they're here at number 7 for me. And then Ole Miss comes in at number 6. A lot of playmakers coming over from the transfer portal for this Ole Miss team, and a lot of experience coming back. Jackson Dart, of course, back at quarterback as well. I think this is going to be a really talented Ole Miss team, and that's the reason why I got them so high in these rankings. And they have like the top transfer portal class maybe in the country. Again, a lot of players coming over from the transfer portal. Lane Kiffin knows how to get it done. But talking about this team, Ole Miss is going to be very explosive and a really well-balanced offense. They're really going to score a lot of points this year. The defense, I think, might have a chance to be a little bit better as well. Tennessee and Ole Miss are pretty similar teams. They're very explosive offenses, but it's really going to come down to their defenses. Again, how much are the defenses are going to improve? I think Ole Miss's defense might slightly improve more than Tennessee's just because of all those playmakers they have coming in the transfer portal. But again, I got Ole Miss here at number 6 just because of the transfer portal. That's the reason why I got them here in the top 10. So these are my rankings here from 6 through 10. All right, the top 5 now. I got Alabama here at number 5, Texas at number 4, Oregon at number 3, Ohio State at number 2, and then I got Georgia here at the top at number 1. Alabama, of course, Jalen Milroe returns at quarterback. I think he's going to have a pretty good season, but you got Kalen DeBoer now taking over as the head coach. I think the offense will be pretty good for Alabama. I think this will be a very explosive offense and also a very talented offense as well. The defense, though, is obviously a concern for Alabama. They just don't really have the same kind of defensive playmakers that they had in the Nick Saban era. But again, I think this Alabama team is going to get better as the season goes on. The first half of the year, the defense probably, starts slow, but the second half of the year is where the defense probably picks up. But we'll see what they look like in a couple weeks against like a little bit of a lesser competition against Western Kentucky, I believe is who they play. But again, I got Alabama here at number 5, still a top 5 team, again, just because of the talent on the roster on both sides of the football. And then Texas comes in here at number 4, obviously first year in the SEC for them. Quinn Ewers returns at quarterback. I think this offense is going to be really good for Texas. The defense, obviously, you lose quite a bit there from last year, but overall, this is going to be a really talented Texas team. And then Oregon comes in at number 3. A lot of talent on this team. Offensively, Dylan Gabriel comes in from Oklahoma. He has a lot of experience at the quarterback position. I think the offense is going to be really explosive for Oregon, and then the defense overall should be pretty dominant as well. Again, both sides of the football, a lot of talent here for this Oregon team. And of course, first year in the Big Ten here for the Ducks as well. And I think they're definitely the second best team, maybe behind Ohio State here, which I'll get to in just a minute, in the Big Ten as well. I still think regardless, Oregon's going to make the playoff this year. I think this is definitely a heavy college football playoff contender and definitely even a heavy national championship contender as well. So again, watch out here for Oregon at number 3. And then Ohio State comes in at number 2. Ohio State, of course, a lot of transfers coming in for them. They got Quayshawn Junkins, the former Ole Miss running back. Obviously coming over from Ole Miss. He's one of the top running backs from last year in the last couple years in the SEC. So I think he's going to really do a good job for this running game for Ohio State. You got Travion Henderson returning at running back as well. And then you got Will Howard, the transfer from Kansas State. How good is he going to be? Is he going to throw the football that much with this new system with Chip Kelly taking over at offensive coordinator? I think overall Ohio State should be better on the offensive side of the football. That definitely was a big struggle, of course, last year. It wasn't definitely the same offensive team that we saw when C.J. Stroud was here at Ohio State. But overall in the offense, you got plenty of playmakers, especially at wide receiver. The defense overall should be really good as well, like they were from last season. So I got Ohio State here at number 2. And then Georgia obviously comes in here at the top at number 1. Again, Georgia's been my pick to win the national championship ever since the month of January. And, I haven't really, changed my pick. Again, you can go back to my playoff predictions from last week. Again, I have Georgia still as my pick to win the national title this year. Carson Beck, of course, returns at quarterback. I think this offense is going to be very explosive. The defense overall just reloads every single year. So overall, just plenty of talent here on this Georgia team. And that's the reason why they are the number 1 team here on this top 25. So those are my official 2024 preseason top 25 rankings for the upcoming 2024 college football season. So let me guys know what you think about my preseason top 25. Give me your thoughts and your top 25 down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.